Welcome, everyone, to People on Dating. I'm your host, Will Morales. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, this podcast is about the ups and downs of dating and how to navigate through it. Today, my guest is Suzanne Roynon, right? And we just practiced this like 2 minutes ago. So she's a leading interiors therapist based in the UK and will help you look differently at the things you keep around you to understand how they may be harming your relationship, health, wealth, success, and home life. She shares hints and tips to create a home and office space you love, which propels you forward rather than keeping you tied to the past, which I love. Suzanne, thank you so much for being on People on Dating. How are you?
I'm very well, William. It's a joy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
No, so it's my pleasure. So, Suzanne, tell us a little bit about your journey. You're a therapist. You're in the UK, which I love. I love your accent. I love, I love your outfit. So what was that journey like for you what did you see out there that you knew you could help people? What was that journey like for you?
Well, it's really started with my passion for Feng Shui and Feng Shui being about the placement and the energy in homes. And I noticed that in the homes of people who had problems with their relationships, either being terminally single or meeting the wrong people over and over again or having a really rubbish marriage, there were certain things that appeared in all of those homes that really reinforced their situation. It might be indicators of fights or being single, all sorts of things like that. And the more I learned about Feng Shui, the more I noticed these things in homes. And then I crossed that over into my coaching. And when I was coaching people online, I'd look at the space behind them and think, actually, your home's telling me all about what's going on in your life. And if we can get your home right, we can get the foundations of your life right as well. And so that then developed out into interiors therapy. I did more and more with Feng Shui. And then suddenly all of these people that I've worked with are happily involved now and getting married and having children and in relationships for the first time in 10, 15 years after really horrible situations. So that's how it all worked out. And it's what I love to do.
So talk more about Feng Shui, because I remember the first time I started hearing that was maybe 10, 15 years ago. And I remember this is maybe 2010, 11, 12, around there. I can't pinpoint. And I remember I was dating this young lady, and I remember she brought a friend over to look at my apartment, and I think I took it to the bedroom, and she said, "Oh yeah, no, it's Feng Shui, and the pictures there and the windows there." And I'm thinking to myself, and if you could explain it, how does that help a relationship, or at least how does it help the home? What we should look for first before we get into today's topic, make or break a relationship, because I love that. So talk more about Feng Shui, even if I'm pronouncing it right, hopefully.
You're doing a brilliant job of the pronunciation. So Feng Shui is all about having a flow of energy through a home. So not having any pockets of stagnation. A home is divided into 9 areas. If you think about a tic-tac-toe grid and you overlay that onto the floor plan of a home, and then each of those 9 areas will relate to a different part of your life. So, for example, the center area is all about your health and well-being. Your southwest area is about relationships. Now, that's particularly relevant for what we're talking about. And lots of people come to Feng Shui in the first place, either to resolve a relationship issue or because they would like to be more successful or have more money. And Feng Shui can help with all of those things. And basically what we do is we look at these areas, each of these areas in a home, work out where the problem areas are. They'll often relate to where you've got clutter or stagnation or something that's broken, dripping taps, anything like that, will all impact on the energy of your home. And the idea is that we fine tune the energy. So almost like fine tuning a sports car so that it's absolutely at its best. And then once it's working for you, everything else in life just seems to fall quite neatly into place. It's very, very interesting when you see it happening. I mean, I get to see it over and over again. that part of my process is that people will work with me on an ongoing basis. And when the second or third call is, oh my God, you'll never guess what's happened now, or promotions, I've met somebody, I'm pregnant with, whatever. It's
Right.
just really, really exciting to work with the feng shui of homes.
Yeah, no, like I said, the first time I heard of that was in like I said, 2010, 2011. And anytime I try to live somewhere in an apartment, I always try, as much as I like furniture, I like decorating, whatever it is, or having one of my female friends help me decorate, because I think women are much better interior decorators than men, my opinion. So guys, don't get on me, but that's what I believe. And I love hanging pictures and things like that. um and decluttering, because I like room. I want people to move around and all that. So, and today's topic, it's make or break a relationship. How relevant is a person's home to that relationship, where it makes or breaks it? In other words, people come, I and I'm pretty sure you had this, people come to your apartment or house and they just start looking around, like, and sometimes I'm like, ooh, what are they looking for? What is it? So if you could talk more about that, because again, if that's part of a relationship, that we could create something, because our home is warm and cozy. I've had people tell me that, oh man, I love your place, it's cozy. So if you
Yeah,
could talk more about that, and how does that relate to a relationship? I know
absolutely.
that's a lot
So
of things. I'm sorry.
that's a lot of things. Let's just unpick what we can. And if I forget
Okay.
anything, you just come right back to me.
Yeah.
So, first and foremost, what you have to bear in mind is that when somebody comes to your home, they will judge you. They will be looking around, unless they're as drunk as a lord, and can't see at all. They will be looking around and thinking, and at a subconscious level, they're noticing what your space tells them about you.
Mhm.
And straight away, they're saying, is this a person I could live with? Is this a person I want to spend time with? Is this somebody who is worthy of my attention? So, and I have to say, this is particularly with guys. Sorry about that. But if you go into a house and there are empty coffee cups, or dust, or grime, or stacks of clutter, or laundry on the floor, that is not telling anybody that that person is a great future partner. In fact, what it's saying is, uh, you know, go back and learn some basic house rules. You're a slob. And you'll find that actually women are getting more and more discerning. They don't need a man in their life. Nobody needs a partner. Having a partner is all about enhancing your life, not bringing you down into drudgery. So, but then if you imagine going into a home where everything is beautifully presented, it's neat, it's welcoming, you kind of walk through the door and it feels like you're going, oh, wow, this feels so good. That firstly is the impact of feng shui, which is great.
Mm.
But you can accomplish that by really understanding how your home works. And it doesn't matter whether it's a tiny studio apartment or it's a 10,000 square foot house. It really doesn't matter. It will make a difference. And once you get to understand that your home is a mirror image of you, then suddenly it's okay, if my home is a mirror image of me and I look around and I'm thinking, oh, this is not looking good, then that's where you stop and you think, well, is this what I'm bringing to a relationship?
Mhm.
And so, if you're if you're inviting somebody home to your basement and it's all video games, controllers, weights, and smelling somewhat of your singlet, it's not an attractive place to be. Equally, I would say that going into a place that's highly scented with too many scented candles or diffusers or anything like that can be just as much a turn off, to be perfectly honest. You have to get the balance right. And that's the glorious thing about feng shui and interior therapy. It just does get that balance. But I think we should talk a little bit more about the stuff that actually can break a relationship. Is that
Sure,
good for
sure.
you?
Yeah, no, please, definitely get into that.
So earlier on, I was talking about the things that really represent what's going on in your life. And one of the interesting things is that people who are single and don't want to be will often have lots of single or solo images around them. Now, that can be all sorts of things. It can be a single girl standing with a glass of champagne, on a card or a picture. It might be a cat. It might be a house standing out on its own. Um, Guys will often have pictures of Darth Vader. I mean, there's so many houses that have got pictures of Darth Vader. What is that saying about you? I mean, if you walk into a place and you see a big poster of Darth Vader on the wall, what's that telling you about the person who lives there?
Yeah, that's telling me this guy got a dark side. This guy is a little. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't take him as too serious. First of all, I think I'm like, really, you got a poster of some character and someone
Mhm.
that's evil, and yeah, I definitely get what you're saying.
But you would be astonished
Oh
how
yeah, hundred
many
percent, hundred
houses
percent.
have Darth Vader. They'll have swords on the wall, um, other weapons on display. That's really quite uncomfortable, and that's telling quite a strong story about those people and their ability to form a relationship. But just going back to those single images,
Mhm.
what that solo cat or the girl with the gin and tonic is saying is, I don't need anybody else. It's reinforcing that single status, if you like. So one of the things that we do with Feng Shui is we start to bring in what we call pair energy or couples energy. And that can be, it might be a picture of a couple representing the ideal relationship that you're looking for, whatever that might be. But you can do it also with matching lamps and matching nightstands on either side of the bed. That's one of the key things with Feng Shui. We balance the bed in order to bring that positive, harmonious energy to the sleeper, whether they're sleeping alone or whether they're sleeping as a couple. It's great for your well-being and mental health. And you find actually that people who are happily coupled up will often buy things in twos. They won't just go and buy one mug or one cushion or one chair. They'll buy twos. And it's just very, very interesting when you start to notice that. I did I do these video walkarounds with people, but I actually went to a journalist's home and did a walk around with her.
Mhm.
And we found 71 images of single women. And that wasn't what she wanted at all. So after we worked together, she did her article, but we kept on working, and she got rid of all those images, and now she is so happily coupled up with a person who is beyond perfect for everything that she's looking for, and it's lovely to see. And this happens just over and over again when you take the bull by the horns, if you like, and notice what's in the home, what's happening for you, what's it saying about you. Is this what you want it to say about you? And it can be a little bit like a sock around the jaw. It's just like, okay,
Right.
I've been sabotaging my life and relationship for however many years. It's time to stop.
Wow. I'm gonna be honest with you, I never thought about that. I remember that time I had a picture and it was a little drawing of a man and a woman. I think the woman had her head facing the guy or something like that. And that's when my girlfriend at the time, her friend said, "Oh yeah, that's Feng Shui." And I never again didn't even know anything about it. So in someone's apartment, they're single, should they have pictures of them and their friends, them of and family, or right? Because you say you don't want to just have pictures of yourself and all that, anything that uh, dictates that you're by yourself. But pictures of
Mhm.
friends and family is that good? That you're surrounded by friends, family, whatever that may be. Does that
Well,
did that make sense
that's
at
where
all?
I'll,
Yeah.
yeah, it does totally. So, yeah, we've all got lovely pictures of our family and our
Mm.
friends. And of course, we want to display those. But that's where we then tap into the feng shui areas and we say, okay, well, family belongs in the east. So we work and get out our smartphone compass. Where's the east of the home? Right, let's put those family photos there. The friends, let's put those in the northwest because that's about our helpful friends. And it's also about travel, which is, I love the northwest for the traveling.
Right.
But we quite often get to go off and do stuff with our friends, don't we? So it's a perfect place for them. So each of these feng shui areas will represent a different thing. And if we then activate those areas by putting things that represent those parts of our life. So, for example, in the Northwest, you might put a globe there or keep your flight tickets there. Whenever I'm traveling, I've just booked some more work travel today, and I have a file that lives in my Northwest, which has got all my travel stuff in it. It's got my tickets, my insurance, the whole lot. All lives in my Northwest because that's the perfect place for it. So yeah, we do have those things. Of course we do. The people we love all have those represented around us, but put them in areas where they will strengthen those bonds rather than work against something else.
You know, I it's funny now that you say that, like because I'm looking to get a new apartment, and I like the idea of having a compass because then this way I'm like, okay, which way is east, which is northwest. I love that because you never think about things like that, and I love the fact that having friends and family photos. I love that stuff. Now, how about pictures of? I love taking pictures of the sky, the skyline,
Mm-hmm.
when the sun is rising or the sun is setting, and you see just how beautiful the sky could look. How about pictures of the
Sort
skyline,
of
if that makes sense?
landscapes and landscapes
Yeah,
and
yeah,
skylines.
yeah.
I love the area I live in. We've got forests and big skies and loads of beautiful fields. So yeah, I'm a big one for having pictures of landscapes as well. So you can pretty much put those wherever you like.
Mhm.
Um, Empty landscapes can be a little bit challenging, especially if you want to move on in your career or something like that. But a skyline, yeah, I'd be putting that in the northwest or the west. If you've got a sunrise picture, the west is fantastic for that, which probably goes against the grain, doesn't it?
Right, right.
Sunsets in the west, but the west is also about new beginnings and new opportunities.
Mhm.
So if you have a picture of the day starting, that beautiful sunrise glow in your west, and that's an amazing energy to have around you.
Yeah, I listen. Suzanne, one thing I love the morning. Like sometimes when I take the express bus into Manhattan from Staten Island, and you see just the sun rising. Sometimes just from the bus, I'll just take a picture and I'll just look at it. I'm like, oh my god, wow, it looks so nice. It's just you just see the sun and just the brightness around that area. Um, so when we decorating our apartments and all that now, how prevalent is having again pictures of yourself solo, whatever, like you said before when we talked about it. How does that affect, let's say someone like me? I have only pictures of me playing sports or me sitting down or me whatever, or like what non-couple things, if that makes sense. How does that affect me, on the inside? Am I not shining bright, if that makes sense?
That's exactly what you're doing.
Okay.
You're having a relationship with yourself and your sport.
Okay.
Now, okay, hand on heart, and I talk about this in my book. It is so essential to love who you are, the person that you are right now, before you go hunting down a new relationship. Because if you don't like who you are, well, why would anybody else? But at the same time, you want to make sure that there are no overhanging bits of a previous relationship that are still lurking in your home or your life. Yes, and especially if a relationship has, if somebody's passed away, if you've had a long and happy marriage and you've been widowed, that's very different to ending a relationship because you just don't like the person anymore.
Mm.
So in those situations where you've fallen out of love with somebody, whether it's just lost interest or acrimonious, you want to make sure that there is nothing in your home that's connecting you with those people. You know, not their favorite mug or some clothes they left in a drawer, their toothpaste in the bathroom, anything like that. You must want to make sure that that's all gone, because they are lurking, and we don't want their energy hovering around us.
Right.
Another challenge, especially for people who are going from one relationship to another, which isn't necessarily a healthy thing to do, is that the bed, if I just say that the bed holds on to the DNA, the energy of everybody who has slept in it. So if you've ended a marriage and you are still sleeping in the marital bed, well, you might as well still have your ex-partner with you, because their DNA in the form of skin particles, secretion, sweat, is all in that mattress. So every night you are getting into bed with a cocktail of them. So if you've finished a relationship and you are really keen to move forward, then as a bare minimum, get yourself a new mattress. I know it's a faff, I know it's a hassle, but it is so worth it not to be sleeping in a soup of your ex. And of course, if you've had quite a series of partners through a bed, again, it's very, very difficult to start something new and worthy of you if you're hanging around with, you know, another 5 or 10 partners in your bed at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, 100%. I never thought about it that way. So you get a new mattress, and let's say if you have a headboard and everything, just get a whole new bed.
I would,
Yeah,
yeah. I really, really would. I haven't had to do it very often, but
right.
I really do walk my talk on that one. And
Okay.
it's not something that I would ever give house room to a bed if a relationship had ended. So I think that's quite an important thing to do, just to clear the way for something new. This is where I talk about stuff making or breaking your relationship. If you're trying to start a new relationship with the chaos and the archive of a previous one right there, it's not going to be a healthy start. And it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman, we all are becoming a lot more discerning about relationships. We deserve the best. We know we deserve the best. And so by putting ourselves in the strongest position to meet somebody who is going to be worth the investment of time and energy in getting to know them, is really quite important. You know, we're not all horny teenagers jumping from one to the next anymore.
Yeah.
We have a finite amount of time, and surely it's better to invest the time in getting to know somebody who is going to make a positive difference to your life than hopping in and out of bed with whoever we pick up along the way.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree there. First of all, Suzanne, I want to thank you so much for being on People on Dating. I could talk to you probably another hour. Before I let you go, talk more about your book. Anything else you want to talk about? Any appearances? You know, coming to the United States to be on Oprah Winfrey show. Anything else you want to talk about?
Well, my book is called Welcome Home: How Stuff Makes or Breaks Your Relationship. And it goes a lot more into detail on what we have around us and what to look out for. And also some very basic Western feng shui. So that's it's a useful way to start. You can always talk to me. I do 30-minute video walkabouts for people's homes, and the equivalent costs are £9, so that's about $12. And you get me to yourself for 30 minutes, show me around your home, and if anything's there that's not working for you that I spot, I'll tell you straight away. Am I coming over? Well, Oprah, I'm very, very happy to come. If you'd like me, just let me know. I don't have any concrete plans to be in the States yet, but for family reasons, there's always a chance I will be.
Yeah.
And I do have clients who occasionally call on me to fly to the US to work with them in person. So it's very powerful working very quickly and in a very, very sort of pinpointed way on relationships. So sometimes I fly out to the States to do that. But for the time being, I'm flying to Europe next. So
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
off to the south of France to do some work with a client.
Nice, nice. And if somebody want to get in contact with you, what's the best way?
So come to my website, interiorsTherapy.com, just as my name is on the screen there. And you can book yourself an inspiration call, invite me to walk around your home. And if you want to talk interiors therapy or feng shui, then let me know.
Yeah, I'll definitely put that in the show notes. And before I let you go, one last word about Feng Shui.
So feng shui is the balance of everything in your home. We're coming into the Chinese year of the fire horse. This is going to be such a dynamic year for everybody. So if you've got that foundation of the feng shui in your home, you are going to canter through this coming year in the best shape possible.
That sounds good. First of all, again, Suzanne, thank you so much for being on People on Dating. I really, really appreciate it.
William, it's been an absolute joy. Thank you for inviting me.
No, my pleasure. Bye bye.
Right.